ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Bomb arson detectives are investigating a fire that destroyed a home in El Cajon this afternoon. Strong winds forced nearby homes to evacuate. And this comes as several brush fires burned around the county during our dangerous weather. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. We have team coverage tonight on these fire conditions. We begin with our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo, who shows us how witnesses tried to help save that home.
Despite the wind, the fire did not spread to any other homes nearby and no one was hurt. Investigators still out here tonight. This was the view from Sky 10 of a home on the 1600th block of Via Elisa in El Cajon. The flames causing heavy black smoke to fill the sky.
I ran to the side of the backyard and I see a bunch of flames coming up.
Rafi Sakat was just getting home from work when he smelled smoke.
Right when I saw the flames, I called 911.
Sakat recorded this video of a neighbor trying to protect his home with a garden hose.
No, they ain't there. They ain't here. They ain't helping me. No.
And the cops came down there. He was trying to put the fire out, screaming, "This is my house. I'm not gonna let it get on fire."
Lakeside fire officials say no one was hurt. According to the sheriff's department, based on the preliminary investigation, deputies called bomb arson detectives to investigate. A terrifying moment for a neighbor, thankful that no one got hurt.
I was just freaking out, man. I feel bad. It's like a person's property, you know. I didn't want that to spread. I didn't want anyone being there, no one getting hurt, as long as everyone's fine.
The homeowner who arrived after the fire started was heard screaming that his dogs were still inside that house. Tonight, no word if those animals made it out okay. Reporting in El Cajon, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
In the meantime, there are 3 large brush fires burning tonight on Camp Pendleton. The largest fire has burned about 7,000 acres and is 20% contained. A second fire is 1,100 acres and is also 20% contained. The third is 500 acres with no report on containment. Cal Fire Air and ground crews, they are assisting, we're told, and we're also told there are no structures threatened on or outside the base.
This comes on another day of record heat. Angelica Campos is joining us from home with a look at the impressive numbers today. Angelica.
Hi, Kim, and we know that after a rainy season or even a rainy couple of months, as temperatures heat up, it's a big concern, and the heat has been oppressive, leading to records 2 days in a row. Today, we made it to 90 degrees here in Oceanside. The record was 85. San Diego didn't quite make it to the record, but it got pretty close. In Carlsbad, we broke records, just like in Chula Vista, where we tied the record of 86 degrees today. And then Poway making it to 100 degrees. Now, in comparison to earlier today, these are probably the most comfortable temperatures we've seen in the last 48 hours. And look at that, 62 degrees here in Oceanside tonight, 70 in Kearney Mesa. You still have a while to go in El Cajon, but in Alpine is down to 67, and a cool down is on the way.
We could use it. Angelica, thank you. Looking forward to that. Evacuations during large wildfires will look very different this fire season. ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Purra spoke with the Red Cross about the changes they'll be forced to make, setting up temporary and overnight evacuation centers.
While most of the local American Red Cross staff has been working remotely due to the COVID-19 threat, one of their main tasks was creating a plan for families that could be impacted during this year's fire season amid the pandemic. Red Cross Regional CEO Sean Mahoney says it starts with temporary evacuation points.
Yeah, they're frequently in community centers or libraries and things like that. It's just not safe to do that.
That's why this year the Red Cross has identified several possible temporary evacuation points like this one. This is the Mira Mesa High School's parking lot. But instead of directing people indoors to wait for updates, they will ask families to wait in their vehicles until a Red Cross worker can attend to them.
We would approach them, we would approach their window. We would have the masks, and we would get their cell numbers. And from that point on, we could use cell phones as well to provide information and updates.
Mahoney says they picked out parking areas that offer shade like this one as families wait out the situation. But if families need a place to stay for the night, the Red Cross has 2 plans depending on circumstances.
If they're just a small number of people displaced, we will put them in hotel rooms. We'll have Red Cross people at the hotels to help them. And then we'll have to adjust how we do feeding as well. Normally in hotel rooms are much more costly. But it's something, we have a responsibility, and it's our mission to provide sheltering and feeding to folks on what might be their worst day of their life. And we take that very seriously.
During the West Fire in 2018, Las Cochas Middle School became an overnight shelter for about a dozen people. Mahoney says if they have to create a shelter this year, space and capacity will be factored in.
Certainly at the shelters, our staff will be wearing masks and taking those precautions as far as enhanced cleaning and separating people and separating the cots. We will also provide masks to people as they come in, and we'll do health checks as well to make sure they're screened.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Turning back now to the coronavirus, here are the latest numbers. The county reported another 108 cases today, bringing the total to 8,800. There were also 4 additional deaths, bringing that total to 305.
With more reopenings and people resuming their lives, service is restored on Amtrak, but your next trip on board will look very different. Amtrak has safety protocols in place for people riding the Surfliner. They are limiting the number of people allowed on each train to ensure social distancing. Conductors and customers will have to wear masks, plus seats, trays, and handrails are being sanitized regularly.
California is ending its no bail policy for low-level offenders. It was put in place in April to reduce jail populations during the coronavirus pandemic. And today, the Judicial Council voted to rescind the policy starting June 20th. That's one day after state prisons will begin accepting transfers from county jails. Individual counties are allowed to keep the no bail policy if necessary. And California's Chief Justice also ended the statewide order extending time for defendants to be arraigned. Well, that means they will again face a judge within 48 hours of arrest. As the United States approaches 2 million COVID-19 cases and 120,000 deaths, 3 government-backed trials for potential vaccines are about to begin. As ABC's Zohreen Shah reports, Dr. Anthony Fauci expressed cautious optimism about the trials.
The U.S. government says thousands of volunteers will soon be a part of 3 experiments to find a vaccine for COVID-19.
We could have a vaccine either by the end of this calendar year or in the first few months of 2021.
Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson all testing their vaccine safety and effectiveness this summer, just as states, cities, and businesses continue reopening. Maryland's governor announcing stage 2 of reopening with indoor dining and outdoor amusements like mini golf opening Friday. Disneyland, part of ABC's parent company, announcing they expect to reopen park gates in 1 week. Nearby in LA County, gyms, day camps, and museums among places the county will allow to reopen their doors on Friday. And while reopening in many places is underway, large protests against racial injustice now contributing to fears of the virus spreading. Multiple members of D.C.'s National Guard, at least 2 members of Nebraska's Guard, and 5 with Minnesota's Guard have recently tested positive. And 20 states and Puerto Rico are seeing cases rise. Hospitalizations up in 8 states, including Texas, with a 40% spike since Memorial Day. Arizona experts are even looking at another stay-at-home order with growing case numbers there.
We expected a little bit of a surge when we opened up. I think the thing that's concerning is about how rapid it's happening.
As the country reopens, Dr. Anthony Fauci says that doesn't mean all bets are off. Masks, social distancing, washing your hands, and avoiding large crowds are all still important. Zohreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The San Diego Police Department is putting together a new de-escalation policy. Today, Mayor Kevin Faulconer said that he has been working with Chief David Nislight over the last week. He says de-escalation was the #1 issue brought up last week in emergency meetings of the police oversight commissions.
Because it gives officers clear rules of the road on how to safely control a situation and resolve it with lower levels of force.
The mayor says the new de-escalation policy will be revealed next week and go into effect immediately. And today, the La Mesa protester who was hit in the face by a police beanbag spoke publicly for the first time about the incident. Outside the La Mesa Police Department, Leslie Furcron told reporters she is still feeling very weak from her injuries.
I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I never had came out here that night for this to be a part of my story. I'm a God-serving person.
In a timeline released Tuesday by city officials, a round was fired from about 40 yards away towards Furcron after she was reportedly seen throwing an object at deputies. Her attorney says she was throwing a can on the ground. La Mesa's chief of police released a statement today wishing Furcron a speedy recovery, adding, quote, "This unfortunate incident will be fully investigated to include an in-depth look at our crowd control practices."